The sneakiest thing that some guys will do when dating a girl is having her think that a serious relationship is on the cards, even when he's already made up his mind about whether he sees a potential future with her or not. So then his goal then becomes to be involved with her as much as possible and for as long as possible without having to give her commitment. And there are several things that guys will say and do to avoid getting to the point of commitment with said girl. And these things often go completely under the radar, which is why so many girls find themselves in prolonged situationships. Well, after I go through exactly what these things are, like the red pill in the Matrix, once you see it, you will never unsee it, which is good because it means that you won't ever fall for it when a guy tries it with you. So here are 4 things that a guy does that avoids or prolongs commitment to a girl. The first thing, he will only spend time with you sparingly. He knows that the more time he spends with you, the more reasonable it is for you to ask for commitment further down the line. So he will try and spread out how often he sees you. With someone that we're dating, if we're seeing them, let's say a couple of times a week, it's pretty reasonable that after 2 or 3 months, you start to establish the relationship or you start to have the talk of being exclusive. However, if you're spending time with someone once every couple of weeks, then after it's been a couple of months, you actually haven't spent as much time together as you think, even though you'd be saying, yeah, I've been dating him for a couple of months. Because then what happens is if you do try and have the conversation with him a couple of months down the line, he then has the feasible answer and reasoning of, oh, well, we've actually not spent that much time together to properly get to know each other. And for you, it's like, well, duh, because you've only ever had time to see me once every couple of weeks. Yeah, this is fully intentional. By being sparing and how often he allows you both to spend time together, this keeps you in the situationship zone. And he'll spread it out, not so much that you'll go off him, but enough that it's a plausible excuse that you don't know each other well enough, so that he can avoid giving commitment to you. Now, understand what you might be thinking. Okay, but why would a guy just spend time with me sparingly? Why not just date each other normally, like see each other a couple of times a week, properly get to know each other, and then if it gets to a point where he knows, okay, I don't want anything serious with me, then he can just let me know and I can go about my life. Why doesn't he do that? The reason he doesn't do that is because even when a guy isn't taking a girl seriously, that doesn't mean that he doesn't want to continue having sex with her. That doesn't mean that he wants to stop having a level of intimacy with her. So him behaving this way is him prolonging you getting to the point where you have to make him make a decision about whether it's going to be serious or not. Because he knows that that time is definitely on its way, and it's all a delay tactic to push that point further down the line. Next thing a guy will do to avoid committing is he will tell you about other women, either other women who are interested in him or other women that he might actually be going on dates on. And the reason he does this isn't to intentionally hurt your feelings, because I get this comes across as incredibly inconsiderate, but him doing this is actually a way of forcing you to manage your expectations of him. He's indirectly communicating to you that, hey, I'm a guy who is not locked into this relationship with you. That even though we may be spending time and having fun together, I'm still very much available to other people because this isn't being taken seriously, at least not yet. By communicating to you that he's seeing other women go on dates with other women, that plants the seed in your head that, okay, this guy is not committing to me. For you to adjust and get used to the idea that he is not committing to whatever this is. Now, what you have to be aware of with this particular maneuver of his is that this isn't something that he would do further down the line, because by that point you have spent enough time together, been intimate enough that him saying this is actually going to hurt you so much that it makes him look like an asshole. It makes him look bad. So this is something that he would generally do quite early on, because he's trying to establish the frame in which you guys are being intimate with one another. That, hey, we might be sleeping together, but this isn't exclusive. Next thing that a guy does to avoid commitment is that he never makes future plans with you. And I don't mean like, oh, hey, do you want to go to the cinema this Thursday? I mean like, imagine if there's like a music gig happening in 5 weeks' time, you ask and offer, hey, do you want to go? And he's very nonchalant about it. When a guy isn't taking a girl seriously, he's not going to commit to future plans with her. He does this because he doesn't want to show any level of commitment. Now, here's the thing. When you offer a future plan to a guy, he might not actually say no, but you'll notice he's not really saying yes either. So he'll probably give you some vain answer like, oh, I don't really know what I'm doing that week, or can I just give you an answer closer to the time? And that last phrase, give me an answer close to the time, that's one to be cautious of. And the reason to be cautious of that is because whatever it is that you've offered, he might actually want to do that. So he doesn't want to say no to it, but him saying yes now is showing too much commitment to the situationship that you're currently in. You see where I'm going with this? And especially if this event is 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks down the line, he's thinking, well, I don't know if I intend for this to carry on for 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks down the line. Or for example, if what you suggested is to go somewhere remote for the day where you can have a fun, intimate time together, then he might be thinking, oh, well, it's going to be kind of weird if we spend a whole day together and then the following day things end. And the reason this particular thing that he does is so hard to spot is because there'll be some plans you will offer that he will say yes to, and there'll be some plans that you offer that he will essentially kind of give an indirect no to. So it's easy to think, oh, well, actually, no, when I do offer plans, he does say yes. But what you have to differentiate between the plans he says yes to and the plans he says no to is what is the time frame between each plan? Is the plans that he said yes to are ones within a couple of weeks, and the ones he says no to are like post a month's time? And also, I don't mean like, oh, hey, why don't you come over to mine? I mean like an actual date, an actual event that you guys would go to outside of the home. Because him saying yes to a plan next week, that's not a major commitment. And because it's kind of almost last thing, he could probably come up with a legitimate excuse to pull out last minute because he's like, oh, wow, I completely forgot that I'd booked this thing. So be cautious of that. And this fourth thing that a guy will do to avoid commitment with you is he will not text you regularly. The reason he won't be texting you regularly and will text you sparingly is because having consistent communication, texting all the time, saying about how your day's going, about what you're up to, about what you're doing later, how you're feeling, all of that, that's something that couples do. And if he's not looking to become a couple, i.e. he's looking to stay away and avoid commitment, then he's going to avoid things that couples do. And this is one of them. He doesn't want you to get accustomed to him being available to you. He wants irregularity to be the norm. Now, of course, this doesn't mean that he will never message you, but this is the similar point as the first thing we talked about. He will do so sparingly. He will give you breadcrumbs to, keep you emotionally engaged, but he'll never give you enough that you both take the emotional intimacy to the next level. Because all of this natural communication that we have with someone, this is all building the foundation for a relationship. And when you don't do that with each other, you can't be vulnerable with each other, which means you can't establish a connection. As connection and closeness is what leads to a relationship, which if you want to know how to establish that connection with a guy that leads to a relationship, then make sure you enroll in my Claim Your Man program in the link below, where I teach you exactly how to do that. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in the next episode. And as always, keep it slick.